Tom, welcome, sir. It's always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
seeing you. The class is yours.
Good to be back.
Welcome back.
Well, first, I think you're all very lucky to have Abraham as an instructor. I can't keep track of the awards he's won for us as one of the School of Business. And every time he asks me to do something, I just say yes. And then I look at my calendar and I think, what did I just say yes to? And I think you'd like me to speak for a few minutes. Is that right? And
Yes.
talk with the class?
On the Arc of Purposeful Leadership.
On the Arc of Purposeful Leadership. Yeah, that'd be great. And I'm happy to do it. Congratulations for persevering and making it through. And I know during this year, being online like this has been a challenge for everybody. And I just want to say before I get into the details of the content, and just all of us at the School of Business are very appreciative of you and every student who has decided to just continue on and do this in this online fashion. So Purposeful Leadership, the Arc of Purposeful Leadership. So just a little bit of a backstory. Before I came to Redlands, I was a dean of the School of Business at the Drucker School, and the founder was this Peter Drucker, who is a monumental figure in management, most cited, and of course I had to learn every Drucker quote, but more importantly, how to think about this philosophy of business. And the philosophy of business was not opposed to profits, but it transcended it. It started with, well, what is the purpose of business? The purpose of business is to create value. In other words, the products and services, if it creates value, customers will have it. And if it doesn't, the business is not a business, and the nonprofit is to create value. So the whole thing is about creating value in society. And that's what organizations do. And then you start to think about it, and how do you push that forward? And lately, there's been even more discussion by the Business Roundtable, by the pandemics, about businesses are not passive in the world. Business, and you can see it every day. Businesses are creating products and services that help people. And so how do we build that into business education? And I started to work on something there and had the opportunity to really, with colleagues at Redlands, really build it out. And it's been embodied in our Master of Science Organizational Leadership, but I think we're going to spread it more broadly to talk about this arc of leadership. And you heard me allude to it in my question, was it last week, the week before, about it's not leadership with a big L. Like I'll do it when I'm at the top of the hill. No, it's leadership with a little L. How do we, wherever we are, with business education, how do we make a difference in the way teams work, in the way a culture of an organization grows, in the way that we get a business or a nonprofit or a public agency to stay on track for what it's supposed to do. And so I wrote this article, and I'll put the link into it, called The Arc of Purposeful Leadership. And I was very delighted that it was the top article of the last year in the Leader to Leader journal, because I think it really just spoke to what a lot of people were thinking about. And I'll do the article later, but let me just see if I can go to the crux of it. And can you see this?
Sure.
And so, and we started talking about it. We gave these out as like gift cards for you or anybody to think about yourself and where you are. And it spans from who you are to the teams you work in, to the organizations that you're operating in, to the society that you're in. And so beginning with self-management, it's about not do you have character, but what's your character? Everybody has a different background and history that gives them the values that they have. We have this thing that we show like 18 different values. And it's great to hear people talk about which 3 or 4 are most important to them. It just shows the diversity about it, and confidence, commitment, compassion. The last one, in each one of these, the last one is perhaps the most important, because, and you think about it, we've given this talk in pandemic times, you know, empathy, compassion is the coin of the realm now as we try and work through all this. And then up to team management, right? What's the purpose of the team? How empowered is a team? And I'm sure you've covered some of this in your class. What are the performance and skills and is there trust in the team? Because, you know, if you don't trust each other, you're going to ask for 15 memos. If you do trust, you'll get it done in a day. And then up to the organization. You know, how clear is the mission and the strategy of the organization? As it aligns its strengths, its weaknesses, is the culture supportive of change? And then moving up to where I begin, what's the value proposition that's going on here? Is it mission driven? Is it not? You know, what's the corporate social responsibility that's become, you know, ever more important? And so this is just a bit of a guidepost that, and you know, I've got 18 slides on this. I won't show you. I'll send you the. Let me start sharing. I'll send you the art. I'll put a link into the article. But what it means is that business and business education is not just about finance and accounting and this and that. It's about, yeah, where is this business? And what can I do where I am to be a positive part? And when I used to be in the classroom all the time. I was in the classroom for 25 years, and I really miss it, actually. I don't miss the evaluations, but not some of them good. But I miss the, you know, the interaction. And when I co-taught this course on purposeful leadership that I designed, it was great to hear people in different walks of life. Some for, you know, private businesses, small, big, government. And we'd hear different stories. Here are some of the different stories we'd hear. Somebody works for the VA. I'm a veteran. I really believe in veterans, right? And I believe in my colleagues, my team. But you know something? It's a big bureaucracy. I'm kind of alienated. What should I do, right? And so it wasn't quite in alignment. And lack of alignment can come the other way. It's a great organization. It's got a great purpose. But no, geez, it's got kind of a conflict culture. And so what we came up with, and we've worked with the companies and organizations on it, is a little diagnostic. Each of those four things, like where do you think your business or company is, and what can be done to better align it, to have that. And we have in the MSOL, people do action plans for it. So we've been very delighted on this. I'll put the link, Abraham, into your Zoom, yes, so that you can read it at your leisure. And it's as much of a story about it. And I didn't invite you to reflect, like, what values really drive you, and when you're on a good team, what are the characteristics of that team? Oh, you're not on a good team, you know, why? And what can you do to make that team better? Or if you're in an organization, what project can you lead? What initiative that can make it, you know, better? And what satisfaction do you get? Where do you get your satisfaction? You know, the interesting thing is we talk about this arc from self, team, strategy to organization. The interesting thing is it starts off very personal about your values, you know, and you're all committed. You're getting your MBA. And the teams, you know what it's like to be on a good team, you know what it's like to be on a bad team, and you want more of the first one. But then when it gets up to strategy, it gets abstract. And so the challenge becomes, you know, how can you zoom in from abstract strategy into something that is real? And so I invite you to look at the article and think about it. And now, just to kind of bring it home even more. So a question become, okay, Tom, it's a pretty good idea. What are you doing? Right? That's one thing to talk about. What are you doing? And so we are trying to actually do this in the School of Business, right? So if you buy the proposition that yes, a business should have a purpose, it should be focused, it should have a strategy that's aligned with its mission, clear out things that are not. It should be enacting it. And yes, it should not just be dealing with day-to-day things, but more. So I'm going to be sending something out in the school or whatever, the student thing that you get, probably go out next week. And we are exploring how to evolve our school to be a school of business, in society. And what exactly does that mean? If you start with a strategy, it's very abstract, right? Well, what does that mean? Well, what it means is we want to have students that come not just from private industry, which is great, but from nonprofits and government. It means that we want to be able to have courses that mirror contemporary challenges. And we did a thing on managing in turbulent times. We did this, I don't know if you saw it. We did this forum. We had 400 people sign up for it because between COVID, between climate change, between the economic disruption, between economic disparity, these aren't abstract concepts for businesses. They're real, real challenges. We do a lot of work with ESRI. That's a GIS company, our hometown, big company. And I have the pleasure to serve on their business advisory council. I'm like the token academic. And it has everybody you would think about: FedEx, Travelers, Kohler, and we meet quarterly, and they talk about this on every quarterly meeting. How do we as a business meet these challenges? How do we develop the data to drive it? How do we develop an understanding about it? Now, I'll give you a simple example. People like to think climate change is political. Ask an insurance company. They are recalibrating all their hurricane rates because of climate change. Right? Mm-hmm. Ask an agricultural company. They're growing crops over here and not there because of it. It's not ideological. It is the times that we're in. And then you look at COVID. How do you take care of your employees? We're doing a forum in a couple of weeks about, the weight of COVID versus employer responsibilities, right? Should vaccines be mandated? What does that mean? What's the balance between growth and, right, opening a business to get revenue versus safety? So these things aren't Pollyannish. These things are very contemporary, and it's my hope that as a school of business, that we walk the walk, that we say, how do we build this into your education? You may agree with it, you may disagree with some of it. That's fine. But you're addressing actually in the classroom what people in business are addressing. Do we furlough employees to save money during COVID? What is our loyalty to those employees? When do we open? If we open too late, will we stay in business? If we open too early, will we subject our employees to unnecessary risk? On and on. This is the new normal that we're in. And, it's my hope, and I think the faculty hope, that what we can bring to you is this kind of consideration, these kinds of ideas, because that's what's out there. And so that when you go, and most of you are already employed and working, and so you're just moving up, but no matter where you are, that when you leave, you'll say, I not only learned the specifics of the class, but I learned what a business is and what it means, and how I can take these skills and tools and attitude and make a positive difference. So that's what we're trying to do. He told me I had 15 minutes, so I had to pack it all into like a 15-minute infomercial here, and I didn't quite mean it that way. But why don't I stop for a moment and certainly take any questions, observations. If I was in the classroom, I'd cold call on you, and I know your name. I can do this way. I can see Scott over there with his hat on, and let's see here. Who else can I see? Kyle up there, and who else? Aaron, he's still paying attention. Luke, well, I can't see you. Your face is kind of down there. But I'd welcome any kind of, response to what I've said or questions about the school. I'm certainly open to it.
This is your chance to not only meet Dean, but get access to him. Because today he's through presenting. In a few weeks, in a few months, you're going to shake his hands when you do the graduation. Hopefully,
Virtually,
COVID is open.
Virtually.
Hopefully, COVID, or COVID is up, or we're free of COVID by then, hopefully. Because some of them,
Right.
they're going to take probably a year to graduate, and some almost. So what are your questions? So go ahead. He's here for you, open for you.
Mike?
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Who's going to break the ice?
Mike is going to do it.
This is Mike Gastower. Yeah, thanks for your presentation. It's not a question. I mean, it's a comment. And Dr. Abe, if you give me a C, I get a C. I'm not doing this for a grade. But in terms of the classes that I've taken at the University of Redlands, I'm about 65, 70% through my MBA. In terms of formatting, information, communication between my fellow classmates, I've never been as involved in the classes I have been in this course. So I just think, moving towards purposeful leadership, asking all those difficult questions, communication. In terms of the style or format of class, this class I would recommend is mirrored for those future classes.
Great. So are you a JIS concentration person? Did I have that right? Yeah.
Correct.
So, one of the things that JIS does is, and we work closely with ESRI, and we've had a positive impact, which is really quite amazing, is that they are now saying, they used to think that they wanted to be, hey, we're just like Salesforce, right? But we have a map. But now they're saying, something, if you want to look at your business within the context of the world, we can do that because we can show your businesses, your employees, the community, right? And so this is kind of changing a different kind of business intelligence, a business intelligence that not only understands what your supply chain is, but how well is your supply chain operating and what kind of impact is it having? And I think that's just emblematic of companies that are trying to pick up their game to understand that they're being held accountable for, if you've got a sweatshop in Asia, somebody's going to find out about it, right? And your stock is going to take a hit. And so this kind of corporate social responsibility, which used to be a department, right? Where they report in. And we profile Nespresso, Nespresso, right? And they have an amazing system of tracking all their farms, all their supply chain, all their products. And I think that's going to be the new normal for businesses, to be held accountable by shareholders and others on it. So thanks for speaking up. I'm not above cold calling here. Let's see.
Can I give you the makeup of the audience? We have we have 4 campuses presented here. We also several students, overseas student, meaning they're here just to visit, to learn with us and go back to their countries.
It's great to have international students because businesses are global, right? And it's amazing. It's a 24-hour clock on business, and the relationship in China, Vietnam had tremendous growth over the years, and Asian, and we are on the Pacific Rim here, and so even for companies in California, understanding Asian business is very important. I remember going to a Toyota fulfillment center right on the 15, and they talked about the Japanese culture versus Southern California and the different cultural dynamics. We're all low key, they're very precise, and how do you manage those things? So I hope what you can take back is an understanding about, whether it's a business in Vietnam or a business in China or a business in Japan, how that cultural difference can be respected.
Okay, your turn, Mia.
Thank you for being here and sharing with us your ideas. Being in an MBA class with all international, like Americans and friends and everything, is such a great experience. And For me, business is all about people. So it's good to have to build a network with new friends and learning a lot about business, organizational behavior, and everything. So it's pretty good to be here, just sharing.
Great, thank you. So I hope this has been helpful. It's been great to spend some time with you.
It's always it's wonderful to have you.
And I hope, can I get a sample of the final projects?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity.
What we're going to do now, we were presenting. So who's going to go next? Which team is going next?
So our presentation, we presented on different leadership styles: situational, charismatic, transactional, and transformational. And we did research on it, just on its effectiveness on organizations.
Okay. And what's another one?
Mike, we looked at a medical management organization and interviewed several of the key staff members to identify some issues presented as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we just worked together to figure out some changes in operations, system use, job design, redesign to help them manage their remote work environment.
So that was clinical medical management or?
Yeah, so it's a combination of clinical sites and also clinical research.
All right, great. Who else?
We looked at a case study with Netflix at a key critical moment with them. So looked at different types of rational decision making and irrational decision making, and kind of what that played with or how that impacted Netflix's growth back in 2011, 2012.
So is that the DVD to online or producing?
Yep. Yeah, that was the decision when they decided to dump Quickster and and lose by 800,000 subscribers and forge ahead to what we know today, where we can binge watch now. But they had to make some decisions before the Netflix we have today.
House of Cards, $100 million, first time ever, right? Yeah. And so what's another one?
We analyzed rotational leadership as well as core groups within the Orpheus Orchestra, which is a prominently known orchestra. Rotational leadership essentially is one of the cornerstones of modern day corporate development with respect to how individuals experience and are exposed to certain leadership roles, not all at once or simultaneously, but from individuals or employees being one leader at a time. And by rotating, they're exposed to knowledge, experience, as well as contributional perspectives towards their own organization, as well as outside organizations for that matter.
Nice. Next.
How about the Disney case?
Yeah, we analyzed leadership patterns in Bob Iger and Michael Eisner's style of leadership and how they manage conflict. So it was quite revealing as to how even some great leaders can fumble and things that you can learn from the way they handled some of the issues that they came across in their leadership.
Great. Thank you for allowing me to come in and spend a little time with you. You were the great professor, and it's just been a delight to spend a little time with you. Good luck finishing up.
Thank you so much.
And take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.